3 weeks ago, I couldn't find my favorite coffee cup. It was lost somewhere among piles of stuff I had accumulated over the years. So that was the last straw. I decided not just to clean up, but to truly declutter every part of my life.
I literally don't know where it is. What the heck?
From my crowded kitchen cabinets to my bursting email inbox. In this video, I'll share the highs and lows of this intense 30-day challenge that I set for myself, revealing how each cleared space brought new clarity to my life, both online and off.
I've been toying with the idea of moving to another country, so I definitely need to get rid of like a ton of my worldly possessions. I'm not about to tow like 20 mugs, hundreds of books, and a whole closet of clothes to another country, especially if I'm planning to travel for a bit. But even if that's not your plan, like to move to another country or to move at all, I think doing a detailed declutter every once in a while can really help to just minimalize the things that you have, give you a fresh perspective, and also help you lead a more organized life, which they say cluttered space equals cluttered mind. And I've definitely been feeling like my brain has been overfilled lately. I've actually known about the Mins game for a while now. I've attempted it quite a couple of times and failed every single time. But honestly, nothing keeps me more motivated to accomplish a challenge than to create a YouTube video about it. I know it seems kind of backwards, but something about you holding me accountable really makes me feel accountable. So thanks for being my accountability buddy. The Mins game is super simple. It is a 30-day minimalism challenge. So on day 1, you get rid of one thing. On day 2, you get rid of 2 things, so on and so forth until you reach day 30, where you are getting rid of 30 things, which doesn't seem like a lot when you break it down like that. But in total, I think you get rid of 465 things altogether when you go from day 1 to day 30. It's gonna be interesting to see the pile of stuff that I gather at the end of this challenge. I think my to-do list for this video includes 3 major things, I guess. One is to declutter, one is to organize, and then the third is to clean. And then within those 3 categories, we've got to do our physical space as well as our digital space. So that is the plan. Today, the goal is clear out my little workshop desk thing here, and then also to clean the bedroom. And then I'm sort of doing chores as I go as well, like laundry, like the sheets, like vacuuming. Oh boy. Because that kind of correlates with especially the bedroom, but even just like vacuuming this room. Let's get organized.
In the middle of doing this challenge, I also decided to switch out my standing desk. Was this a stupid idea? Maybe, but I did it. I wanted a desk that was a little larger so that when I was filming, I could use it as a better workspace and as a space for overhead shots. So I pushed all my piles of mess aside and switched over to the new desk. This definitely overwhelmed me more than it should have, but at least the desk was super easy to build and set up, and I now had a silver monitor arm that looks way less of an eyesore on my desk. I love the added desk space. The grain of the wood also matches my accessories so well, and the desk was super sturdy, which is important because I'm often overloading it with devices and gear. I spend the majority of my time at my desk, so having a beautiful yet sturdy desk is super important to me. So I ended up being very, very happy that I made the choice to make the switch, even though it was kind of nuts trying to do this while I was attempting this challenge.
I'm a week through the Mins game challenge, and I'm honestly feeling pretty good about it so far. At first, 465 items sounded like a lot, but I feel like I'm getting a pretty good handle of it. And I also have sort of developed some strategies that I think are helping with making this a little easier. I don't know, I'm feeling pretty confident about it, and yeah. I will say I am pretty glad I did this though. Okay. Let's chat strategies. As I mentioned before, I have attempted and failed the Mins game a couple of times now. So let me help you not make the same mistakes that I did. So the first is to create a tracker, but not just any tracker. You need a tracker that you're actually going to enjoy using. I've just like written it down on a piece of paper in a notebook before. I've also just tried to create like a little to-do list on Notion from 1 to 30 and then like listed out what I wanted to clean in those days. And none of those have worked for me in the past. I personally decided to create a little tracker to use on my iPad with Notability. I've been really enjoying using Notability as like a note-taking app, but also to highlight books and to create mood boards and just sort of plan out for creative projects. I designed the tracker in Figma. I wanted to make sure the tracker was really minimal and beautiful, especially because this is a minimalism game. So I created a little calendar-like tracker from days 1 to 30. I put a little circle so that you can mark down the days that you've succeeded. And then I left a little space in the box so that you can write down like what category or what things you got rid of that day. But actually, Notability has like this free gallery. Like people just upload tons of these beautiful templates. There's stuff like planners, mood boards, trackers, like all kinds of templates onto this free gallery. So I decided to upload my Men's Game template to Notability so that you can download it and use it if you want. It's totally free to use. You'll get the template for free. Like just, yeah, try it out. I'll put a link to Notability in the description as well as instructions on how you can get the template. My second tip is to split your cleaning and decluttering into either categories or spaces. I've seen a lot of people do spaces, which I think makes a lot of sense as well. So like on day 1, where I'm gonna clean my bathroom. On day 2, I'm gonna do my beauty drawer. I personally decided to go in categories instead of spaces. So I separated my cleaning into like clothes, books, makeup, and then decluttered based on those categories. My third tip is to not follow the linear order, which seems kind of silly because it was built this way so that you're going from day 1 to day 30. But what I found is that if I were to start with day 1 and just get rid of one thing, the game essentially gets harder and harder as you go. Like, I don't know, I don't think that sounds that chill. So what I did was actually skip around to random days. So like on day 1, instead of doing one thing, I did like 17 things. I don't know. That's just how my brain works. Let me know if you are somebody who'd rather start a challenge easier and then end up harder, or start the challenge at like the hardest stage and then end up with an easier stage. My last tip is to go through everything twice. I found that on the first go, I actually decided to keep some things, which after like multiple days, when I went through that category again, I was like, why the heck did I keep this? But once I got into the flow of cleaning, when I did a second pass of those categories, I was a lot more ruthless. So I think going through your categories twice is going to really help you truly declutter. I'm also going to share some tips with you that I have around decluttering in categories, some questions that you should ask yourself when you're going through the categories to make this a lot simpler for yourself. The first was, would I miss this if it went missing? What I noticed was I had so much stuff that I honestly forgot that I even owned, which is so silly. Like, why is it sitting in my freaking storage just taking up space? The second question is, how often have I used this item in the last month, season, and year? And the reason I split it into 3 time frames is because if you ask yourself whether you use this in the last month, maybe not because it's meant for another season. But if you haven't used it in like the last season, maybe not because it just hasn't been the right time for it. And then once you evaluate, okay, have I used this in the last year? Like, if you have not used it in the last 365 days, you're probably not going to use it. And then the third question I asked was, if I were to move somewhere else in the world, would I bring this? This obviously is a very personal question to me and my experience, but even if you're not moving across the world, I think it's a worthy question to ask, because if you wouldn't take this with you if you were moving across the world and you don't use it, why are you keeping it? Definitely let me know if you have any other like tips or strategies to decluttering that has worked for you to help me. Thank you. I wanted to clear some more things today, but I am feeling so overwhelmed. This is all the stuff I've cleared so far. Actually, plus these books. I don't know how many items it is currently. I'm not gonna do the count right now because I'm already feeling overwhelmed. But I don't know, like this is harder than I thought it would be. Even though I knew the total number going in, which is like 465 items or something, it didn't seem overwhelming or impossible to do. I actually went into this with so much energy and like excitement and motivation, but having to deal with, do I give them away? Do I sell them? Do I donate them? Just that whole process is freaking getting to my head. I think I'm just tired today as well. I don't know. I don't want to deal with this today. I'm like almost entering that mindset of I just want to get rid of everything. Like I just am looking around my different spaces and I just want to freaking get rid of everything. It's so frustrating. This probably seems so silly. Like, why are you so hung up on trying to get rid of stuff? Honestly, I don't know. I'm trying to unpack that right now as well. This is my progress so far and I'm not even halfway through and it's just freaking crazy. It's crazy. It's nuts.
Besides just feeling exhausted about figuring out how I was going to get rid of everything, there were also a lot of things that it felt more difficult to let go of due to sentimental reasons or because they were larger items. So if you struggle with the same things, what helped me was asking myself, are these items worth paying for a storage unit for? Since my goal was to move to a different country, anything that I wanted to keep that I didn't want to bring to another country with me had to go in a storage unit. And if you've ever tried to purchase a storage unit, they are not cheap. Even if you were to move to a new apartment, you probably don't want to lug these things to every new place. So putting a monetary value to the item and comparing it to the cost of a storage unit, I found really helped me. There were also certain sentimental things I was willing just to have a photo of as well. Like, did I really need that postcard that I received from my crush in grade 8? No, definitely not. So when I was going through the sentimental things and my memory boxes, I ended up just taking photos of a lot of things, and that sort of gave me peace as well. For larger items that seem super annoying to get rid of, I would just list them on Facebook Marketplace for a cheap price or for free, and someone will always come and pick it up. Otherwise, there are junk removal programs you can pay for as well, but make sure that you're making the most of those services and getting rid of as much as you can all at once so that you're not wasting your money and their time. On the digital side, although I wasn't following a strict men's game format, I still wanted to make sure I had a checklist of all the things I wanted to go through in my digital space. So that was looking at all of my hard drives, looking at all of the cloud storage I had, as well as stuff that's in my downloads folder, documents folder, pictures folder, and on my desktop. It's nice being able to back up files, but when you're paying for cloud storage up your wahoo, or you're just collecting hard drives, at some point you have to realize, okay, do I really need all of this stuff that I'm backing up? There were tons of graphics and different footage that I had from years and years ago that I honestly don't think I would ever use again. So deleting all of those unnecessary files honestly instantly gave me some relief. There was also other details like unsubscribing from newsletters and creating organization folders in my email that really helped me clear up my head but also simplify my workflow as well. Honestly, the digital decluttering portion took so freaking long, but I really wanted to make sure that I was being thorough. Although this was a huge pain in the butt while I was doing it, I was so glad that I finally did this because it made a world of difference to how I felt. It is officially day 30 and I have finished the 30-day men's game. Reflecting on this last month, I'm realizing that besides just teaching me how to organize better and how to declutter, this game has really taught me what truly brings value to my life and what are the things that I actually use in my day-to-day life. I'm also realizing that the benefits definitely go beyond like the physical space clearing and that my brain feels clearer as well. I mean, I've always heard the quote, clear space, clear mind, cluttered space, cluttered mind, but
I'm actually feeling it now, and I don't know, it's this extremely cathartic being able to get rid of a bunch of things that you no longer need. Besides just having a neater drawer, neater cabinets, neater closets, the digital decluttering actually was a really impactful exercise as well. I feel like I have a much better understanding of everything that I have, because as I was decluttering my digital space, I took inventory of all the assets, of all the content I've made, of everything that I've done digitally and have stored. And I think that it's going to speed up my workflow in the process. I definitely have this sense of disbelief that I had this many things just stored and collecting dust and taking up space. Like, I think I actually got rid of more than 465 total items, because there were just some categories that I had so many random individual little knickknacks or things that didn't need to be there and didn't serve me at all. So I definitely feel like this game has brought me a sense of relief, and it literally feels like a weight off my shoulder, which I guess it is. I am getting rid of a crap ton of stuff. If you've been considering doing a big spring clean or a decluttering session, I would definitely recommend trying the Min's Game Challenge yourself. And if you do, remember that I do have that template for free to use on Notability in my Notability gallery. So yeah, that's linked in the description box below. If you enjoyed watching this video and you just like watching these challenge videos, I did also challenge myself to learn German in 30 days. So go and watch that video next. Other than that, thanks for watching. I hope you're having an amazing day wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!